Hello. I'm going to go into the next step of our Build-A-Book. This again was the sample I started with, and the back. My spine is nice and sturdy. Then I'm going to we're going to work with the one that I did along with you guys. And this one is all stitched and everything, ready to be a book. It's got its spine there. Well, we're going to go a couple of steps ahead, but we'll backtrack. I just don't want anybody panicking about how are we going to finish this. Our cover isn't really going to be finished because I used a big chunk of fabric when I painted it. I have another piece. So I have what's going to be the lining of my book. But I am not going to do anything with it right now. If you want to embellish stuff, embellish, but do not embellish the spine. The reason is we're going to start working on some pages. Our pages, and the cover was designed for this, is 8.5 by 11, just like your regular typing paper. We will, boy, that dates me, doesn't it? Typing paper instead of computer paper. So we're going to make our pages like this, and then we'll fold them, and we are going to sew them into the lining like this when they're done. Each one will get sewn in, and then when it's all finished, we'll take the lining and we'll sew around the edges, and it will be in there. We can sew right down here and right down here. It'll be nice and sturdy, and none of our stitches for our signatures are going to be showing on the outside. So from there, I'm going to go into the pages, and like I said, 8.5 by 11, fold this way. This is going to be our page. Most of the time when we do a page and then we do the back. Well, this time we're only going to do this. We are going to do our page, and then we are going to mount it to a piece of paper. It does not have to be plain paper. It can be painted paper. It can be scrapbook paper. Whatever kind of paper makes you happy. Or pieced together paper. But we're going to stick with paper so that way when our page is finished, we've got all this beautiful stuff, and I'm sure we're going to have pockets and tuck spots to stick things in to write on. But then when we open it, we have paper to do some actual journaling. So I'm trying to make a sort of functional decorative project all in one. So for the first page, we're going to use some kind of base. Muslin, that ugly cow fabric that you bought at a garage sale that you didn't know was in the box. Or wait, maybe that was just me. But I had a ton of interfacing, the non-fusible kind, and I really don't use it. So I thought, hey, let's see how that works, and I really like it. It's a nice firm surface, and it doesn't have any give. So I cut it at 8.5 by 11, and then I did this. And I literally just put pieces of fabric. I started with smaller pieces, and then I got kind of tired of that, so I put some paper in, and then I did a few bigger pieces. No rhyme, no reason. And if my edges were sticking up and not bothering me, I could easily go back over this and just stitch crazy and have it all nice and stitched down. I did trim some, not all of my threads, because if I'm going to put paper over here, I don't want all that texture in there when I get ready to write on it. So this is just one way. I also did a little more organized, a little more method to the madness, I could say. And I just laid them down, laid a strip down, and just sewed. And overlapping, I didn't worry about torn edges, zigzag edges, whatever. I just sewed them down. So I took all scraps. Both of these were completely scraps. I didn't cut anything up to get this. And so now I have 2 pages. You only need to do 1 page because hopefully we can make every page different in some way or another. But basically we want to make a page, which is actually going to be 2 when we fold it. And if you look at this and you're thinking, well, that's way smaller than the journals. Yeah, it kind of is. Because here's my spine. And then the book gets in there. It's a lot. But almost everybody puts some kind of trim on the edges. So you get a little trim on there. It's going to be just about right. Especially when you get 5 or 6 or how many ever signatures you put in here. One of the pages we're going to work on, whether it's this one or a different one, I'm going to show you how I do the little edges with my fabric. And so for now, let's make our backgrounds. And I will work on embellishing that and get back with you. Have a great day. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to put fabric fringe on this page. And what I do, if it's a solid, I just do that. But if it's a print, I try to put them right or back sides together. And I just start down my sewing machine like this. And I just sew them. The reason I will put 2 on there is so that both sides of the page will have the decorative good side of the fabric. Sometimes I do them right. And if you notice, I am not paying any attention to the shape or size of my pieces because it's just cool. Regardless of how you put it on there, it's just cool. And I'll stop there. And that's what it looks like. And when I put the other page, the other side to it, it will look, well, I'm trying to do this here to get you an idea. The other side's going to look really cool too. So that's how I do the fringe. And you can put more, you can put less, and all of this will be encased in your back. So here's my first page. I have a pocket here and a pocket here. I've sewed fabric strips on here. This pretty orange lace that I got in a swap. Added a little bit because I have tags that go in here. I decided I didn't want to do too much up here so the tags could stick in. This is just a piece of cardstock, and I sewed some other cardstock and this cool little flower that I just did stitching and stitching and stitching. It goes in here. And this was some packaging off of something somebody had sent me. So I cut that off because it was just too pretty and put it on this. Do whatever you wanted to this side, and this side is blank. And it goes in here. I have some of the same green paper, but I didn't want it quite so stark, so I just scraped white paint across it. What I'm going to do, isn't that cute, is I'm going to take this and put it together, and I will stitch the whole thing down, and that will be my page. So let me do that and I will finish my video. Well, I am back with my finished page. I have my tags stuck in there, and I sewed this paper to the inside. So now all we have to do is sew it to the lining part like so. I'm not going to sew it in right now. I think that I would like to make a few pages. That way I can put them in the order I want, because I love color and I will probably have most bright pages, but I might have some that aren't. So I may want to just kind of mix it up a little bit. But I wanted to show you, for those that are questioning the size, this is our spine right here. And when you put your book in there, or your page, excuse me, it fits pretty well. It looks like it's going to be too small, but by making it the size we're making it, 8.5 by 11, we will have just enough room for all the extras without too much hanging out. You know, a little hanging out's cool, and a lot hanging out's cool, but for the most part, we want to keep it fairly contained. When I sewed this in, somehow, you know the old thing that says measure twice, cut once? Somebody didn't do that here. My paper was bigger than the page I sewed, but it's okay because I kind of like the little eyeballs peeking out at me, and it looks good. Makes this page just a little stronger, and I have one page done. So get out your fabric scraps and your paper scraps and make you a page. And remember, we can do paper on the back, and then we can write what we want, draw what we want, and make it our own journal. Thanks.